probably going to jail for this. I don't care. I've stayed quiet long enough.
Brett Fairley has been arrested, in case you missed it. I'm sure most of you have seen it, but here are the charges as well. So here is his booking picture. There's his name. He was booked on 5/8, and here are his charges. Contempt of court, non-bondable, voting under the influence, boats, reckless or negligent operations, improper personal flotation device. And here is what Hadley had to say about the situation. This is on the Mermaid Mom's page. Her comment was, he was arrested for telling his story and for child support, even though he's off the birth certificate. Also, we were nowhere near the water today, and he had no warrants. I am beside myself. If you were not aware, he posted a 12-part series telling his side of things. He was well aware that this would possibly get him in trouble, as he was not supposed to be posting about this on social media. But he did not want to be silenced. He wanted to get his part out there, and for the most part, that's what he did. Unfortunately, he did not get to finish, as he was arrested. All of these videos have now...
They didn't jail him because he lied. They jailed him because he told the truth. Think about that for a second. A man exposes paternity fraud, pulls the curtain back on a broken system, and instead of justice, he gets handcuffs. Before we dive in, drop a comment. Are modern men more delusional, or is it the ladies? Hit like and subscribe. Let's get to 1 million subscribers this month so you don't miss what we expose next. So here's what went down. This man was sent to jail, not for violence, not for crime, but for refusing to be silent. He shared his story, and that story embarrassed the wrong people. They forced him to delete his videos that didn't just call out a single mother's lies and paternity fraud, but revealed the system that protects those lies. Imagine that. A man discovers he's not the father. He seeks truth. He exposes deception, and the system punishes him for speaking up while the liar walks free. That's not justice. That's control. But here's the beautiful twist. Before they could silence him, people started saving his videos, sharing his story, immortalizing the truth. That's the power of community. When one voice is shut down, 10 more rise up. And this isn't just about one man. This is about a pattern. A pattern where men are thrown under the bus to maintain a false image of female innocence, where the court system looks the other way while women weaponize lies for emotional or financial gain. And if a man dares to challenge that, he's labeled, discredited, even jailed. They call it justice, but really it's fear. Fear of accountability, fear of exposure. Because the moment men start documenting the truth, the system starts losing control. That's why public pressure matters. That's why people are sharing his story, to make sure the system knows we're watching. You can't keep silencing innocent men while protecting those who abuse the law. Hopefully, Brett Fairley gets the justice he deserves. But more than that, hopefully his case wakes people up before more men are destroyed by a system that punishes truth and rewards deception.
Who went viral for his insane paternity fraud story recently was just arrested and made to take down all of his videos. It's a lot, but I'll give you the quick breakdown. So Brett is a young man who ends up getting approached by an older woman named Maria, who asks him to be her sperm donor. She convinces him with paperwork and everything that it's all on the up and up. He's not going to be legally responsible for this child. Despite this arrangement and them only having a one-night stand to complete this arrangement, Maria ends up finding Brett's mom and grandma and tells them that she's pregnant with Brett's child and convinces them that he should be involved with the pregnancy. His mom and grandma now want to be a part of the baby's life, so they convince Brett that he should be too. So he agrees to start paying child support. But after a little over a year, having paid now $55,000 to this woman for this baby, he ends up taking a paternity test and finds out the baby isn't even his. Not only that, but Brett finds out that Maria likely knew who the real father was this entire time, but refused to disclose it because the real father was married to another woman at the time. Oops! So Brett goes to court for paternity fraud, asking for his name to be taken off the birth certificate, child support to end, and to be paid back for all the child support he did pay. In a kind of surprising victory, the courts actually do agree to end Brett's parental and child support obligations, but they don't make Maria pay him back, and I'm pretty sure his name is still on the birth certificate. The judge also assigns a mutual restraining order for the both of them, meaning that neither of them can ever talk about this case again. Basically a gag order. But according to Brett, Maria broke this order almost immediately, immediately by contacting his family, telling them that he's a deadbeat who abandoned his child. So Brett decides that he too is going to defy the order and clear his name, and that's when he made a multi-part series detailing all the lies, how he got played, and also his own mistakes along the way to help educate other men. I actually remember one interview where Brett was asked what he would tell his younger self if he could, and he said that if he had ever heard a story even remotely similar to what he went through, he would have never been in that situation. So his story does have the ability to prevent this from happening. But obviously the courts don't want this story out there. Why? It just makes you wonder, especially when you consider that in other countries like France, it's actually illegal for men to perform paternity tests on their kids without the mother's permission because, in their words, it would destabilize the community. And honestly, this whole concept that you have to prove paternity fraud is also crazy to me because it's like, did she say the kid was his? Did the DNA test say that it isn't? Seems to me that there was pretty clear deception involved. But we do have to learn from this, and honestly, this is why a lot of guys are very hesitant to sign anything until they get that DNA test. This is also why I think it's really important for women to stop taking DNA tests so personally and making it this big relationship-ending deal. You should want to be able to offer your man that reassurance, and you should also want that reassurance yourself. After all, hospital switch-ups do happen to women too. They can shut him up, but they can't shut us all up, and men need to hear this stuff. Men deserve to know if their kid is theirs or not without being
For those who've never heard this story before, this is where it all began. And trust me, once you hear it, you'll understand exactly why they're trying so hard to bury it. The full story is linked below, and if you value truth, share it everywhere you can. Because what we're seeing here isn't just one man's tragedy. It's a reflection of a system that punishes honesty and rewards manipulation. Situations like this shouldn't even exist in a fair society. Yet here we are watching a man lose his freedom, not because he hurt anyone, but because he dared to challenge the narrative. And the saddest part, these cases will keep happening until accountability becomes real, not just for men, but for everyone. When lies carry no consequence, when deceit gets sympathy instead of judgment, you create a culture that protects abusers and destroys the innocent. So the question becomes, how many more men need to be silenced before we finally demand justice?
I agreed to be a sperm donor. She said she just wanted the baby and not a relationship. I was young and naive, and I trusted someone that I shouldn't have. When she told me she was pregnant, I congratulated her and moved to California. I thought that was the end of it. But then she started messaging my mom. She said she had no one, and she pressured us all to be at the birth. So we did. We were all at the birth. I signed the birth certificate, and I decided to be in the baby's life as a dad. I let her and the baby live in my Airbnb for free. I had to pay child support, and she took over $52,000 from me. I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was being a dad. She started asking me to be a family, and when I refused, she called me a deadbeat online, and I stayed silent throughout it all. 2.5 years later, I decided to take 2 DNA tests. Both of them said the same thing. I was not the father. When I shared the results, she said that I was lying and that we tampered with the test.
Before you all start believing his shit, some company with her DNA, that could have been anyone's DNA.
She filed a restraining order. A judge silenced me and made me remove all my posts, based on Maria's claim that I was actually the father. Here is the court-ordered DNA test that I had to request, and it confirmed again that I am not the father. And while I was silent, she kept going. She was changing dates on photos, spinning stories, manipulating people online. Some people believed her. But while she was doing that, I was uncovering the truth. Connections, manipulations, lies, and the truth about who the real father is. This is just the beginning of Maria's web of lies. I started telling friends and family, and everybody's in shock.
The probability of paternity is 0%. Bro.
Isn't that the most insane thing you've ever seen in your life? I hired a lawyer, and he said, do not contact Maria again until she's served. For the first few weeks, I was just sad, and then there was this moment. Hadley and I were just sitting there, and she kind of mumbled under her breath, I can't believe she called me a whore. And both of us just started dying laughing. This was the first moment where I was like, what the did I just go through? And then small town people start talking, and I start getting messages like this. I guess all of her friends always knew who the real baby daddy was, but no one bothered to tell me. And I was pissed. I started looking at this tattoo every day. She would post this tattoo on her Facebook, and now knowing that her friends knew, I start wondering, were they laughing at me the whole time? I started to hate looking at my own arm, and I didn't want the tattoo anymore. It had nothing to do with the baby, it had everything to do with Maria. Hadley suggested that I either get it covered or removed. After some thought, I thought a line through it would symbolize moving on from the abuse, but not forgetting the child that I love. In October, Maria gets served a lawsuit, but not before I heard the process server say this.
I've been down this road with her before. Yeah, who was the guy? He did some kind of swimming pool building or something that she was fooling around with.
Apparently she's been in lawsuits with men before. I had no idea. After she was served, I gave her plenty of time because I asked Hadley how she would react if her kid's dad served her with paperwork showing DNA results that he wasn't the dad. And Hadley said I would immediately call him and tell him to get his down here and do another DNA test in front of me because I know they're his kids. But what does Maria do? For the first time ever, she's quiet. So I post my video to my 100 followers only to clear my name. I don't mention Hadley's name at all, and I keep the baby's identity hidden. Then the messages start rolling in. Shortly after, I'm served with a restraining order and they're demanding I take down all my posts. And that's when they take the opportunity to start twisting the narrative online. And while I'm silenced for 6 months, I start unraveling the truth about everyone in Maria's web of lies. First up on the list is